We're going to call the regular board meeting for the LACSD directors. Call the meeting to order. Please follow me in the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda been posted.
Yes, the agenda was posted on July 18th.
Roll call.
Vice President Boydston.
Here.
Director Keith is not here. Director Morris, not here. Director Reynolds.
Here.
President Wurm.
Here. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? No, nothing. Okay. We have now opportunity for the public to comment on matters within the jurisdiction of the district that are not on the agenda. If you have a matter that you want to comment on that is on the agenda, we ask that you wait until that matter is called to make it more relevant, to make your comments more relevant. We have a time limit of 5 minutes per individual. Are there any members of the public who are online who want to make a comment?
We have two members here in the audience, so Mr. Hatt will go first.
Mr. Hatt, welcome. Ready?
Thank you. My question to you, it's not on the agenda item, but it's a question that's been bothering me for a while. Is your connection with AWAC, the water company's connection with AWAC? As you know, there was a Senate bill that was introduced by Senator Bogue, Senate Bill number 1405. And that bill was sort of like changed along the way, and I guess it did not pass. And then after that bill, I heard some rumors that because AWAC is sort of struggling right now and to even stay in business, I guess we only have one board member. Michael is the only board member from what I understand. So AWAC is sort of like going away and disappearing. But my question, the rumor that I heard was that the water company was going to buy the water rights held by AWAC. And so my question to you is sort of like with all this that's gone on with Senate Bill 1405 and the rumors about your connections with wanting to buy the water rights from AWAC before they go out of business totally. Is any of this, is there still a connection here? Is there still things that you're going to do with AWAC, or is that sort of like going to disappear now that AWAC's going to disappear?
Well, I think I can say our district has really no connection with AWAC except we rent them space.
There's no plans to purchase the water rights that they supposedly own?
I'm not aware of any such plans or any
Oh, okay.
connection.
I guess it was just a rumor that I heard, and basically there are some tracks. I have 2 tracks right now that I have documentation that they did not get the 55% in 2010 that they should have. 2 tracks, the one track that I live in and the next track, 7074 and 7891. And I actually have proof that they did not get the 55%. So basically I'm bringing that up because if you did want to take over the water rights in those 2 tracks, I can almost assure you there would be a class action lawsuit against that simply because we have proof that they went out of business in those tracks in 2010. And so basically that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Schultz.
Mr. Schultz.
Okay, this is a prepared written statement representing the views and opinions of our local mountain full-time residents. This is not written or collaborated with LACSD's board President John Wurm, or the GM, or the staff, or the employees. Mr. Ted Hike insinuated in his recent letter on his public website, Arrowhead Woods Informed, that this occurrence possibly occurred during the last board meeting. It did not occur, period. We are able to write for ourselves and speak for ourselves. We will stand up against a public website that appears to spread false or misleading statements that will affect our property values and visitor tourism. This is a public forum where we are allowed to speak. Mr. Ted Hike gleefully stated that his public website goes worldwide in his last letter. This public website, Arrowhead Woods Informed, is affecting our property values by expressing that LACSD is sitting on their hands and doing nothing to combat PFAS properly. What visitors from around the world would want to visit Lake Arrowhead after reading Arrowhead Woods Informed? The scathing letters give the perception that Lake Arrowhead's water company is doing absolutely nothing to try to solve the PFAS problem. Nothing could be farther from the truth. LACSD isn't a dogfight, working vigorously to combat PFAS and having to combat misinformation. Our local full-time residents of Lake Arrowhead have continually monitored and researched the moves and actions of LACSD. We are concerned regarding our drinking water and our property values. We have witnessed the diligent work of LACSD and have witnessed the slew of misinformation. This public website continually attacks our water company with negative letters and anyone who sides with LACSD. LACSD has an obligation to combat what appears to be false information and save our property values from plummeting. At the last LACSD board meeting, Mr. Ted Hike stated I was the last remaining AWAC board director at that time. That was not true. AWAC had 4 board of directors at that time, and we're going to be all right, George. Also, this LACSD board has accommodated Mr. Ted Hike to speak much longer than 5 minutes numerous times. We wish LACSD would only have to focus on the PFAS problem, and Arrowhead Woods Informed would quit endangering our property values. Thank you for hearing our frustrations and our opinions.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Are there any online?
There's none.
All right, and next we're going to go to,
Scott written down's hand just came up.
okay, Scott?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Just a couple quick comments and questions. Number one, I wish the last speaker would speak in behalf of himself as opposed to we. I'm not sure who the we is that he represents, but that's a pretty broad term. I think that when people speak, they tend to speak in behalf of themselves. If they speak in behalf of a group, they acknowledge that group and who's part of that group. Anyway, moving on. I'd like to know how many ratepayers have applied and received the $100 bill credit so far.
That'll be in the general manager's report, Scott.
Very, very good. Thank you. And in item number 17, which is closed session, I totally understand that you want to discuss price and terms in closed session, and that's totally understandable. But the purpose of the purchase and how the property will be used does not appear to be something that should be hidden from the ratepayers. We should know what the purpose of the expenditure of these funds, whatever they are being utilized for. So my question would be, what is the purpose of the purchase of the property listed in item number 17 in the closed session?
Joe, I don't think we can comment on it, but I think I can say that before any purchase agreement is made or approved by the board, it would be an open session item.
It's not required to be, but it certainly can be.
I could say it probably would be, yeah,
Yeah, it can be.
yeah, so does that answer the question, Scott?
Well, no. It's just a simple question. What is the purpose of the purchase?
It's under closed session, so I can't really discuss that, but
Yes.
Well, the closed session is, pardon me for interrupting, but the closed session, as described, is to discuss price and terms. It does not say purpose or reason for purchase.
We have it on the agenda for closed session for a reason, and it's going to be discussed privately by the board. It's not on the open session agenda. You're certainly, as you are, able to make your public comment, and the board can accept that, but it's not open for discussion.
I find that to be a lacking of transparency. Thank you very much for your time.
thank you, Scott.
Okay, and then we have Garen.
All right, Garen,
Yeah, hello.
hello.
Yeah, so I wanna refer to the public notice that you guys sent out warning everyone that the water's contaminated. I wanna applaud the LACSD board for finally doing that and giving people notice of what's happening with their drinking water. I wanna quote something from this public notice and just let everyone know that it is sort of lacking in information. Paragraph 2 states, we routinely monitor for the presence of drinking water contaminants. Raw untreated lake water sample results received on May 28th had a PFOA level of 13, which increased the locational quarterly running average. The results above the response level were for samples taken from the Lake Arrowhead raw untreated lake water prior to any treatment and blending. The results of the finished treated water after treatment has occurred have levels below the response level of 10.0 nanograms per liter for PFOA. My question and my comment is, LACSD has tested the finished drinking water. I think you guys are doing a disservice to the public by telling the public that the levels tested below 10.0, when you guys know in fact that the level is 9.775. You're giving the public a false sense of security by telling them it's below 10.0. It could be, that could mean 1, it could mean 2, it could mean 5. Transparency is very important. People need to know what the finished drinking water results are, and it's 9.775. So you guys continue to hide the ball, and it's not really a misstatement, it's an omission. So telling the public what the actual levels are in the drinking water in this notice would have been really nice. And many have reported that they have not gotten the emails. They're ratepayers. Their emails are registered with LACSD, but for some mysterious reason, they never got the email notice. And a lot of people have reported they did not get the actual letter in the mail. So I don't know who does the due diligence and verifies that the public received the notification. Many haven't. And many still don't know the water's contaminated. So please be more transparent going forward. There's lack of transparency with what you guys are doing. The water is contaminated. It's 9.775. Tell the people what it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. That concludes the public comment for non-agenda items. Next, we have special recognition.
Thank you, Mr. President. So. Hold on up here. This is a tough one. We are celebrating Mike tonight, 29 years with the district. We are so grateful that he chose to spend those years with us. I am personally grateful. He has had a lot to do with my own success here, with the entire district success. He has had all the integrity in the world, and has really been integral in creating the kind of culture that we have today. And well, I took some notes because I was afraid I would forget something. The main thing about Mike's work here is that he has fostered a culture of excellence, which we see in the numbers today, but Mike he cares about the numbers, but that's not why he has spent all of that time it's really the good work behind it. And, you know, we're gonna miss you. We're gonna miss the person seeing you here. But the last thing that Mike did, which is a testament to his exceptional professionalism, is he has really set up his department well for success. We have Nathan Porter taking his role. Mike has really laid the groundwork for the work to continue in the same vein. And so I have no worries about that, but that we're just gonna say.
Thank you.
So we have a little certificate for you.
You.
I think that is a few things.
This is Colorado skiing.
All right, well, I have a somewhat prepared statement, put this together, earlier today. So, of my 25 and a half years working with the district, I spent my first 3.5, of those working with Mike in the field operations department. At the time, Mike was a senior maintenance worker, and then he transitioned into the construction supervisor. I learned a lot from working with Mike, most importantly, how to be a leader and make decisions in times of adversity. Eventually transferred over to operations department, where I've spent the rest of my career so far. But when the district was needing strong leadership in the field operations department, someone not only manage the department as a whole, because I didn't have a manager at the time, but also take on the cease and desist order issued by Lahontan in 2013. Mike stepped up. Not only did Mike step up, he changed the department's culture, mindset, and made compliance with the CDO one of his top priorities. I'm here to tell you that his hard work and efforts are seen not only in the drastic reduction in the number of sanitary sewer overflows, but also in the morale and direction of his department, and also the renewed relationship that we have with Lahontan Regional Water Quality Control Board. I could go on for a long time speaking on Mike's accomplishments at the district, but I'll stop and just say, take the time to thank Mike for his almost 30 years of service with the district. Mike, I'm thankful for many years we have worked together here at the district. I can also, I'm very thankful that you considered and accepted the position of manager over there. You were definitely the right guy for the mission. I appreciate how the two departments have worked together to accomplish tasks to get through everyday life and then emergency situations and holidays, and our departments never worked so well together. So I look forward to continuing the teamwork with Nate going forward. I'm very happy for you, Mike, and your retirement's well deserved. You'll enjoy a great wide open of Colorado, and I hope to visit you one day. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to take a moment just to publicly express my gratitude to LACSD and what a great career and my experience here has been. And I came in at an entry-level employee and was able to, train and learn from the old timers then and then progress and just afforded me a lot of opportunities. And I grew up in this community. I'm elementary school on through and everything. So it was a pleasure to work here where I grew up and I've met great people. I work with wonderful people, and I'd like to express how the management, the interaction Matt and I have had has been awesome, and it wasn't always that way. And we kind of worked in silos back in the day, and now we're all united, and it's been great. And when Catherine became the general manager, that was unbelievable, because I've seen a lot of general managers, a lot. And a lot of, I could go on, but anyways, it's just been so pleasurable to work with her. And she's always respected me and listened to me and believed in me and allowed me to, kind of go my direction and what I saw. And it did yield positive results because I had a great team around me. We did great hiring, we had great supervisors. I just happened be the manager of the department, but, it's just been great, and I just wanted to express that.
Well, Mike, one last comment from the board. But as a board member now for almost 12 years, I'm grateful for your service to the board. Your reports have been informative. You've expressed candor. They've been given with candor, professionalism, and competence. So as a manager, that's 100% in all those four areas. When I came onto the board, we had a big problem. It was the CDO. That was a big problem. It was like the PFAS situation facing us now, okay? One difference, I think, was the PFAS has been something that's been imposed on us. But the CDO, quite honestly, was something we did to ourselves. And we had to sort of face up to it and admit it and take steps to solve it. And if there's one person who most contributed to solving that big problem, that would be you. And so I as a member of the board for that, pretty much that entire time, I want to express my gratitude personally and also for the board for what you've done for our community and the district. And also as the 29-year member of the district, I want to thank you for telling all our potential new employees what a great place it is to work. Okay. And so for all those people out there, I know there's probably thousands of young people listening to this broadcast. Because the ratings are really getting high. Okay. That if you're looking for a good place to work, like Mike was 29 years ago, you can get a job here. It's good paying. It's a good place to work. It's got good benefits, and you can stay here for maybe even 29, maybe even 30 years. Maybe. All right. Thanks again. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, now we have the consent calendar. The consent calendar is for routine matters that are non-controversial, be acted on at one time without discussion unless the one item is withdrawn by a board member for questions or discussion. Anybody who wants to speak on the matters on the consent calendar? Members of the public, anybody online? No? Okay, the only matter on the consent calendar is approval of last month's minutes. A motion to approve? All in favor? Aye. All right, then consent calendar is approved. Next is departmental reports. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I'm going to go through my CIP project list, which is on page 14 of the agenda, and just bring you up to date. So we'll start with the project 177 Corporation Yard. Trinity is close to completion. There are punch list items, including concrete repair and the trash enclosure roof to be completed. Requests for proposals have gone out for electrical and HVAC to complete the scope outside of Trinity's portion of the project. I will talk more about the proposals in action item number 14. Spyglass slope protection, project 179. TK is at 60% design and we'll have plans for staff to review on 7/26. And we anticipating going out to bid in September, and construction will start early in 2025. Project 187 Blue Jay Well, which we're going to start calling well number 9. Webb has completed the 100% treatment design and staff is reviewing the plans, and I will get their comments back on the 26th of this month. The well number 9 distribution survey is complete, and we will have base maps on August 2nd to start the water line designs. Project 191 lift station 2 relocation. We have 100% design that's out to staff, And we're waiting to get their comments back. And we anticipate this project going out to bid in September. Project 214, Highland Sewer Replacement. Construction's underway with TKC. The project is 30% complete. Completion is scheduled on September 26th. Project's going very smooth. There's hasn't been any rock, no change orders as to date. And the homeowners on Highland and Heliotrope are just love the fact we're putting new sewer in there. It was really not a good old system. And this applies to our CDO. The project 228 Grass Valley Wastewater Treatment Plant Skater Room. We have 100% design. We have a bid schedule and the cost estimate is complete. And we will go out to bid for that next month. Project 229 Grass Valley Wastewater Treatment Plant, 1 million gallon recycled water pond. We will receive the 75% design submittal on the 26th of this month. And we plan to go out to bid in September with construction early 2025. Project 244, Highway 173 groundwater wells. DUDEC is continuing with CEQA. We have Hilltop Geotechnicals doing a geotechnical study. And Kyle Groundwater is doing a hydraulic and analysis report. Project 245, Courtyard Well. We're still kind of holding off on that until a location is finalized, and that's after everything settles down up there. Project 248, Willow Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant water main. This is for the new water main that's going to go from Alberta to the plant. It's going to be upsized, so we have a fire hydrant out there. We're going to have the design to staff for review next week. Project 249, Village Service Lines Replacement. This project's been going really well. It's at 85% complete. There's 2 more hot taps, one for the Cadillac Cowboy and one for Papagayos that need to be completed. They will be completed this week. They've been working at nights, which is great because we don't want to close down anything in the village during the day. After this week, they will switch back days to do the final paving. No change orders on that project. Project 251, PFAS treatment. We had our kickoff meeting last Thursday at Bernina with all the staff, all the players were there. We looked at Bernina, we looked at Cedar Glen Treatment Plant. I have RFPs out for survey and a geotechnical study for the facility at Bernina. And the district will pothole the connection points and design is fully underway. Project 254 Western Cedar Glen Sewer Extension. The survey is complete and will be sent to us August 2nd, and we'll start the design. Project J108, well number 5 rehabilitation. That will be action number 13 tonight. And project 256, Hospital Road Sewer Replacement. The survey is complete. And we have our base construction drawings submitted, and it's currently under design. And then project 255 Willow Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant Building. Project was accepted by the Board of Directors on June 25th. We're currently reviewing the contract, and we will have a kickoff meeting soon. And then I just have a couple of projects that aren't on the list that are definitely starting to go. We've received, from our field maintenance crew, the 200 manholes for the manhole inflow reduction project for, 2024. That's the raising the 200 manholes that we do every year for our CDO. And project 258, I manhole rehabilitation, 2024. We got information on that, and that's to rehabilitate 20 manholes, which we do every year. These two projects will happen very fast. We'll have these out to bid, I'm sure, next month. And also, we've received a lot of information from our field ops crew on the Meadow Bay and Blue Jay slip lining, and we will start designing that soon. And that's pretty much the latest and the greatest, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great, all right. Thank you. Next, we have a report from Field Operations Manager Nathan.
Mr. President and members of the board. I want to start just by saying thank you for this opportunity to be here and taking over for Mike, and it's a great opportunity, and I'm grateful to be here. So thank you all, and thank you to Mike for everything that he's done, and kind of bringing me up in the different roles and getting to where I am today. So
All right, well, welcome.
yes, thank you. So this is the field operations 2024 second quarter report. It's just an informational item. Background information is to this report. This report is to give a quarterly status update on the current infrastructure, maintenance and activities in the field operations department. You turn to page 16. Everything's pretty normal here. I just want to point out on the service line replacement. We replaced 16 service lines in the second quarter. This is a little higher than normal. We try to replace these service lines whenever we get a leak. Take that opportunity to get rid of the steel service line and replace it with a poly line. So crew did a pretty good job with replacing that many in one quarter. So I just wanted to point that out. If you look on page 17, on the second quarter water leaks, nothing really big jumps out other than kind of the 5,000 gallon leak on Merced. This was a 2-inch saddle strap that corroded. Kind of the first time we've ever seen something like that happen. So 2-inch tap that was capped, and the bolts and actually rusted out and broke off. So kind of just wanted to point that out. The other ones are just service line leaks, nothing too big there. If you look on page 19, just included the SSO category definitions. Since we're kind of still new in the category 4, for 50 gallons or less, they've kind of downgraded those even more to that, adding that 4th category. So that's 50 gallons or less. That doesn't hit any kind of waterway or anything like that. You look at page 21 for the SSO detail. We had 3 category 4 spills. Nothing, the largest one being 45 gallons. This was up in Rim Forest. You'll see that it says 0 recovered. I just want to point out that that was on the front side of the mountain, where the slide area was. It was extremely dangerous to try to get down the side of the hill to clean any of that spill up. There was really no way to get down and retrieve any of that. So I just wanted to point that out in that one. The other 2 were in plastic pipe, and these were root intrusions and like the rubber repair coupling. These were kind of some older styles that we were using, and we since switched to a more shielded band seal type coupling. They actually have like 4 points for attachment instead of 2, so much better. Hopefully we won't have these root intrusions and some of these pipe repairs that we've done in the past. Other than that, that's all I have, and if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, I got 2 full questions. It can be 2 questions if you want to.
Sure.
On the rusted bolts, how old were the bolts? Number 1, and number 2, how many do we have district-wide that we need to worry about?
Well, it's kind of interesting that one happened there. It was actually on something newer. It's almost like it was a defective saddle with the bolts, because we have saddles that are many years older than that one. That one was something that looks like they did some type of repair on. The type of soil that was there, maybe, it was a lot more corrosive in that one area. But that's the first one we've ever seen, and we have some that are, maybe 40, 50 years older than that one. So being that was the first one, kind of unusual that it happened. I don't know what kind of circumstances took place there, but guessing it was either something to do with that bolt or the type of soil that was in there.
And the second part, how many do we have district-wide off the top of your head? You probably know you don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. They use a lot of those, every service line has a saddle connection. So basically, we could have, we have roughly 9,000 service connections. So there's a lot of them out there. But like I said, very unusual for that to happen. It's not something that we've seen. I know Mike hasn't even seen one, so. Kind of interesting.
Not even blind.
That's all I have.
Any other questions? No.
Mr. Vartanian has his hand up.
Okay. Karen?
Yeah, I just have a quick layperson question here. I'm looking at page 21 and it lists the different spills. So the volume of spill, the first one is 45 gallons. The second one's 15 gallons. And then the third one's 40 gallons of sewer spillage. The cause says root intrusion at pipe joint, and then the next one says root intrusion at failed repair coupling, and then root intrusion at failed repair coupling. The question that I have, it's a very basic question. How are you guys ascertaining the actual volume of sewer that's been spilled? You listed 45 gallons and then 0 recovered. How are you coming up with that 45 gallon amount of sewer that's been spilled? Can somebody answer that for me?
Well,
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
These are obviously, our best estimate of gallons. We have like visual charts that kind of represent the volume coming out. We'll use reporting time from when we got the call to when we stopped it, and kind of calculate roughly, how much was coming out during that time to kind of gauge how long that spill was going for and kind of what we're seeing. So,
So these 3 spills that you guys had, what was the actual trigger that put you guys on notice that there's a problem here? These are all buried, right? They're all underground? None of it's visible?
correct.
So what triggered the repair? What usually triggers the repair?
We had a spill come out of a manhole, so, anytime we find any type of pipe, with any cracks or root intrusions, we do our best to do repairs on those lines. We use CCTV to, verify where that is and what type of repair needs to be made, and we make it that way.
So somebody called you and said there's sewer coming out of a manhole? Go
Yeah.
investigate.
yes, generally, the public will call us and let us know. So,
What's the volume of sewer that'll fit inside a manhole before it overflows?
well, that's all dependent on the size of the manhole. Can't really answer that because they're all different depths and sizes and,
It's more than 45 gallons?
I mean, it could be, but when it fills up to the top, it doesn't necessarily, all of that volume doesn't necessarily come out.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Garen. Anybody else? That's it. Thank you, Nathan. Next, we have Dustin.
Yes. Thanks, President Wurm and members of the board. First time caller, long time listener. Okay, so bear with me. So I'm just gonna quickly talk about a brief overview of the Lake Area Community Services HR department. In doing so, we'll go through a couple points. One is the number of employees that are currently here. Employed is 56 full-time. 1 part-time. The number of employees hired this quarter. 4. There's been 3 field operators and 1 HR manager. She took my thunder on the retirement of Mike. But we do strive to bring the same type of intensity that he brings. Dedication to the company. So we all strive for that. I will say that everyone in this room, their door has been open and their hand out. Because I ask plenty of questions as I go through the process. Number of accidents this second quarter, we had 1. It was a minor accident, no time off for that particular accident, which is good. Currently, number of employees using health benefits, 53 employees are provided by the district. Just to give you an idea, you probably know this already, but our health insurance cost for the district per month is around 92.5% cost of the premium. Our health cost for the employee per month is around 7.5% of that premium. Property insurance, which is, CSRMA Alliance, the renewal of the 2024-25 program showed a 11.5% increase in total cost. When you say cost, it's never a good thing, but if you look at the previous year, which is around 31%, it's much better. This was largely driven by more favorable market conditions and the increase in total insurable valuables of approximately around 7.7%. We did add a new cybersecurity program. Again, CSRMA, with us being partnered with them, they have instituted KIND. It's a new service that provides cybersecurity, monitoring, and reporting to improve cyber risk and management. We added a new policy in the second quarter, workplace violence prevention. It's California Senate Bill SB 553. It addresses the rise of episodes of violence occurring at work sites. We talked about how to report it, what to do when it happens, and how to prevent. Required training was needed to be done by July 1st. That has been done to all staff as required by the new law. To give you a little insight on customer service, these are dedicated individuals that take a lot of calls. On average, the number of calls per month is around 1,600. The high of PFAS, I know that's an important detail with what's going on in the community right now. A high of 17 PFAS in one day. Average is around 3. Safety and health. We have regular safety meetings. Everyone in this room is usually there. And it provides deep thought, insight, action items not only with dealing with coworkers, but also the community. We also have a great opportunity. We use a wellness program, wellness grant money from Aqua JPIA. And we have a fitness room upstairs. And so we get grants and we use that to purchase equipment. So that's available for all employees, because it's important not to just have physical, but mental rehab as needed. Our employees, it's amazing from seeing things on a daily basis. Our employees are really into continuing education. They want to get better. They want to learn new things. They want to move up, right? And so that's really important to our employees. And I can say this with confidence that our employees believe in what they do for the district and what the district does for the community. That's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions? No?
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dustin.
Perfect. Thanks, Ed.
Thank you for the report. Okay. Next, we have Matt.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. This is my usual information item that gives a report and update on water delivered in the calendar year. So my report begins on page 25. Where if you go to page 30, that's where I do my analysis, and we're at the halfway point when I put this together here through 6 months. So through 6 months of 2024, water consumption, or what we deliver to the community for consumption, is very similar this year as it was last year through 6 months. Lake draw the same at this point, very similar as it was last year. Wells to the system, well production slightly down. We had well 2 offline for a couple months. That's back online, and as Scott mentioned, we're hoping to get well 5 back soon. We have an action item tonight to hopefully carry that forward. So we're looking forward to producing some more groundwater. We purchased more clawa this year versus last year, and we're going to continue purchasing more clawa. We have increased the clawa purchase through June and right at the end of June and beginning of July. Cedar Glen treatment plant's offline currently. And so you're going to notice as we go forward through the year, the clawa purchase is going to continue to grow and be much larger than as compared to last year. Next bullet point item on here, recycled water delivered to the community or to the country club is much more, it's about double what it was last year, close to that. And that has everything to do with the fact last year, we didn't start delivering recycled water until June. And so this year we were about 3 weeks ahead of that, May 20th. So that seems just about right. So that's what I have in this operations manager's report. I'll take any questions if you guys have any.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Okay, next, Matt, here upon the PFAS update.
All right, PFAS update. So this month we have quite a bit of information, a little bit more than past months. So I put together some talking points. I'm going to do my best to kind of summarize everything in this packet. So the PFAS update starts on page 31. So I'll say start on page 33. If you go to that, you'll notice that regarding you'll notice information regarding a public notification that went out on June 27th. In the table, it shows the results are available for the Blue Jay well. It shows that we took 2 samples since the last board meeting, so I'm referring to the table here. Shows that we took 2 samples since the last board meeting, and that was Bernina Water Treatment Plant blended, that's treated water, and Deer Lodge Park well number 2. Both of those are voluntary samples, and we're still waiting on the results for those. And we anticipate having those results prior to the next board meeting.
We'll get them and post them on the website.
Yeah, as soon as we get them, they will be posted on the website, and we will also be most likely discussing them next month, assuming that the results are available. On the same page here, like Scott mentioned, I put the district had an extensive kickoff meeting last Thursday with N2W and DUDEC to begin the final design for PFAS treatment at the Bernina and Cedar Glen water treatment plants. So the meeting consisted of site visits of both facilities included 8 members from N2W and DUDEC and 5 members of LACSD. It was most of the day from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. A lot of good ground was covered there. We also are gonna, we discussed it, and we're gonna be working with the Division of Drinking Water as we move forward with the design, just to ensure a smooth permitting process when we get to that point. So next page, on page 34, you'll notice that we added a new table showing quarterly finished water sample results. The first sample in this table was taken on July 15th, 2024. So again, we're hoping to have and anticipate having that result available prior to the next meeting, and we can discuss that then. These finished water samples are currently being taken as voluntary to confirm that the water being delivered is below the response level of 10 parts per trillion. We anticipate having these results ahead of the next meeting. So I'll mention that, so you see the table up here, it shows the EPA UCMR5 sample results. So UCMR5, that's unregulated contaminant monitoring rule number 5. So once the EPA UCMR5 sampling is completed, and it was completed for Bernina in November, there is no longer a requirement to sample the finished water for PFAS. However, LACSD we've been in contact with the Division of Drinking Water regarding the evolving PFAS sampling and notification requirements. LACSD has since agreed to take voluntary samples of the treated finished water to confirm the PFOA levels in the water delivered to the customers in anticipation of a future requirement from the California Division of Drinking Water. So next, if we go to page 42, my update. You'll notice that we added a new table to the website that also includes voluntary PFAS samples taken in Rim Forest and the one I mentioned in Deerlodge Park. Rim Forest, we reported out on that last meeting, but all those came back as a non-detect, and that's bottled water, and that's what we are purchasing in high quantities right now to bring our finished water blend down. Let me see. The map on page 32, which was the second page, I'll just mention it was updated to include DLP well number 2, which is site number 40. Right on the next page, this is where I got a lot of my notes here. PFAS state and federal order timeline. So this can get a little bit confusing. There's a lot of information on here, so I'm gonna do my best to try to summarize this. So on page 43, you'll notice the timeline that we put together regarding the PFAS state and federal orders. Drinking water served by the Lake Arrowhead Community Services District is regulated by the State Water Resources Control Board, Division of Drinking Water, and the US EPA. These regulations are designed to protect public health, and they can also be complicated, especially when they first get rolled out. The rules from various agencies may not be synced, especially when dealing with these new regulations. The following summary is being provided to give our customers a greater understanding of the current regulatory framework related to PFAS chemicals. So in January of 2022, LACSD received notice from the EPA to begin the registration process for the upcoming UCMR5 that I just mentioned, unregulated contaminant monitoring rule number 5. And this UCMR5 requires that the sampling of treated finished water for 4 consecutive quarters for 29 different PFAS analytes plus lithium, and requires the samples to be taken 2023 to 2025. The sampling process is coordinated by the EPA through its subcontractor, and they're called Great Lakes Environmental, and they schedule the required sample dates. They ship us the required sample containers, and it also includes detailed instructions on how to fill the bottles, where and how to ship the samples back to the third party for analysis. So LACSD completed the registration requirements immediately. We had a whole year to do it, all of 2022, when we requested to be scheduled within the first available testing window. That was granted, and our first samples that we took were for Bernina in the first quarter of 2023, and that carried on for the 4 consecutive quarters in 2023. Cedar Glen was offline when we started that program, so we requested that start in quarter 2 of 2023, as it did, and 4 consecutive quarters takes us into quarter 1 of this year. We're still waiting for the results of those first quarter samples. We just recently took a resample kit, or a set that I mentioned at the last meeting. So we took samples in July that are going to be reflective of a first quarter of March sample result. So in October 2022, the state of California issued a general order requiring monitoring of PFAS for specific public water systems and sources named within Exhibit A of that order. And LACSD is not included in that exhibit. But about a year later, August 2023, we did receive a notice of applicability to the order that I just spoke about, the general order DW 2022-001-DDW. And we received the notice of applicability due to the detections in our finished water during the EPA UCMR 5 sampling process. So the order that we received from the state of California, the notice of applicability, requires LACSD to take ongoing quarterly sampling of the raw, untreated source water for 25 PFAS analytes at these specific locations, specifically Bernina intakes, Cedar Glen intakes, well 2, 5, and 6, all raw water. So Bernina water treatment plant has been sampled quarterly beginning in October 2023 as required. We took samples in October, January, and May for the first 3 quarters. And the May sample put us over the response level for the PFOA of 10 parts per trillion. So Cedar Glen water treatment plant was sampled beginning October 2023 and was also sampled in February, and the treatment plant has been offline. So during the end of March, early April 2024, we LACSD created the required public notification in anticipation of a future response level exceedance for PFOA in the raw untreated lake water. As I just mentioned, the sample we took May 8th. So that was scheduled. We were doing our best to stay ahead of this and anticipated the possibility of that putting us over. And so we put together the public notification that everyone saw that went out. And we sent that to the Division of Drinking Water ahead of time, and they approved it. At the time, they did not have a template for this. They do now. And so that was approved back in early April. And so on April 10th, a few days after we had this conversation about the public notification, the EPA released this long-awaited final drinking water regulation for PFAS. So that final rule sets MCLs for PFOA and PFOS at 4 parts per trillion. So per the EPA, this is quoted right out of their guidance and this final rule. It says EPA's final rule protects public health while allowing for maximum flexibility, cost savings, and burden reduction for public water systems. These flexibilities include using previously collected drinking water data to satisfy the rule's initial monitoring requirements. That's what we did, the UCMR 5. Check that off. Additional time to comply with the PFAS MCLs, allowing systems time to plan, design, and find the best solutions for their communities. They understand that this isn't going to happen overnight, and it's very expensive as well. So within 3 years of the rule promulgation, interesting word right out of the thing, but within 3 years, so in 2027, initial monitoring must be completed. So we did complete that, as I just mentioned. And then starting 3 years following the rule in 2024, public notification requirements begin, and that's in 2027. And then starting 5 years following the rule, and starting in 2029, all public water systems must comply with all MCLs and public notification for MCL violations. This was on April 10th. We immediately reached out to the Division of Drinking Water and says, what now? What do we do with this public notification we just discussed, we're getting ready to send out? So we discussed this with the Division of Drinking Water, and on April 12th, we received guidance from them regarding public notification requirements. There's conflicting guidance in the State Water Resources Control Board order related to which sources should be utilized for the notification purposes. The order refers to finished drinking water delivered for human consumption but the sources identified for our sampling were raw that has not yet been treated or blended. Because this is not what our customers drink, the Division of Drinking Water provided guidance to LACSD in April 24, confirming the raw water testing would not trigger those notification requirements. So at that time, available data from the UCMR-5 finished water sampling showed that Bernina was below the response level of 10 at the 9.77 that Mr. Vartanian had mentioned previously. So next, we fast forward to June 27th, 2024. We're notified by the Division of Drinking Water that public notification is now required because response level exceedance, because of the exceedance for PFOA in the raw untreated lake water, like we just discussed. So we said, okay, we complied. We had the thing ready to go. We send it out. June 27, 2024, we begin the public notification process, which includes posting the notice to the district website, social media account, mailers to all Arrowhead Woods customers, and emails to the Arrowhead Woods customers with emails on file. Because of the inconsistencies in the order and out of an abundance of caution, it was later determined that the notification should be sent to the community in June 2024. That was what was reflected to us by the Division of Drinking Water. And again, we didn't say, hey, we had previous conversation. We said, okay, and we complied. So this notification was sent out based on PFAS levels in the raw water samples, not in not in the drinking water. So the Division of Drinking Water and LACSD are working together to ensure the public receives the most accurate information by utilizing finished drinking water samples in the future, since this is a better representation of what our customers are consuming. So on July 3rd, we sent a formal request to the Division of Drinking Water that going forward, finished water sampling results be used for notification purposes rather than the raw, untreated sampling results. Same day, we got a response from them approving our request to use the finished water sampling results for notification and response level purposes. So we have, like I mentioned, tentatively agreed to take voluntary finished water samples from Bernina in July, which we did on July 15th, and voluntary quarterly samples thereafter of Bernina and Cedar Glen went online to determine compliance with the notification requirements going forward. Since the finished water sample that was taken in November at Bernina, the raw water samples taken in the lake, that was October, January, and May, they've trended down. 16, talking parts per trillion, 15, 13, okay? We've also shut Cedar Glen treatment plant off. That's been taken offline, and Clawa purchase has increased. And again, I mentioned that's non-detect for PFAS. The treated lake water at Bernina, it's blended with Clawa and the groundwater that has very low PFAS concentrations, and that's prior to being served with the customers. So you have that one, slide 1 available. All right, Marissa's going to put a slide up for those who can see it. Slide 2. All right. So you'll notice this is very similar table that is on page 34 of your packet, but it's since been revised to show the dates that the district received the sample results for the UCMR finished water samples. So the sample that we took in November of 23 for Bernina, we didn't even get notified till March. And again, we only got notified one time, actually. We had to go track those results down on our own. So we were waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally got the results in March of 24. So anyways, so now that we are transitioning to a new set of sampling, and we're working to establish our quarterly running annual average with the final sample taken earlier this month. That's why we added the other table showing a new set of quarterly samples we're going to be taking going forward. I think it's important for everyone to understand what a grab sample is. A grab sample is something you just walk up, take a sample, and it's a snapshot of that moment in time. That would be different than a composite sample, which is something that either a machine or a human, you go take samples at a certain interval hourly, add it to a bucket, and you have a 24-hour composite that gives you a snapshot of that 24 hours. So grab sample is at that moment in time. The reason why I bring that up, you'll notice right there on that table that we're looking at, there was 2 samples taken on November 7th. One was for the 4th quarter of Bernina, and one was for the 3rd quarter, and it actually got inserted at 8/7/23, and that was the confusion on the data that was missing when Mr. Vartanian mentioned that last month. So, but I want you to take a look at those 2 columns side by side. Those numbers are different. Those samples were taken at the exact same time. So, we got 11 parts per trillion, we got 9.8 parts per trillion. So just wanted to show that. So these are grab samples taken at a moment in time, and what's used for compliance is a quarterly running annual average of 4 samples. So that's why the district states that we are below the response level of 10. And we also feel confident that we are still under the response level of 10. And so to confirm that, we took the sample July 15th. Could you please go to the next slide? So under our current conditions, PFOA, we have estimated at anywhere from 5 to up to 8 maybe parts per trillion. These are estimates again, based on data that we have, such as flows and known PFAS and PFOA numbers. So a blended finished water sample was taken on the 15th. And as previously mentioned, these will be available hopefully by next month. We're also actively working with the DDW to ensure the treatment solution we're planning to install will meet all of their requirements. In the meantime, we're purchasing higher amounts of imported water, which reduces the levels of PFAS that is blended with the lake water. And the district has also begun a home water filter rebate program for customers until the PFAS treatment at the district's drinking water treatment plants has been installed and online. So if you take a look at the figure up there, the tables, it really shows that 2023 is about 79% lake water, 18% groundwater, and 3% purchased water. And current conditions right now, we're at 39% lake water, 52% purchased water. We're purchasing Kalawa right now at a rate of about 1 million gallons per day, and then 9% groundwater. So projecting going forward, 2024, we're looking at, if we keep this current blend up, we're looking at, ending the year with 56% of lake water, 26% purchased water, and 18% groundwater. So based on these numbers and these knowns and these calculations, we're confident that we're below the response level, and we took a sample to hopefully confirm that. And through this entire process with PFAS, our goal has been to be 100% transparent with the board, the community, and our number one priority when we get out of bed and come to work is public health. And that's a fact. And that's for everybody that works here. And that's like Catherine all the way down to the brand new guy. And I speak for you guys on the board. I know that's a top priority for you as well. So that's what we're doing regarding PFAS. We're very excited to be moving forward with the engineering team that we have to provide this treatment. We had a very good kickoff meeting. These guys really have their heads wrapped around it. They have experience in this. They have contractors they've worked with. They know which kind of equipment that we need to try to pre-procure. Some of the heavy electrical has long lead time items, 55, 65 weeks. So we're confident that the community is going to get the best bang for its buck for these projects, and it's going to benefit the community going forward for many years. So we're excited about that. So with all that said, if you guys have any questions, I'll gladly answer them.
Questions for the board? Okay. Let's look at George. He's had his hand up.
One quick question, and Matt, you've really covered a lot of material. You mentioned drinking water a lot, and that's basically my concern is, I got your report and I read it and it didn't look good at all or everything. And I've talked to a lot of my neighbors and they have not a clue what PFAS even is. They haven't even heard about it. They drink the water out of the tap and they feed their animals, drink the water out of the tap. Now, I know you're concerned about health, safety and everything of your customers. But if you're over the level, like at 11, 14 or whatever, or over 4 is what it's supposed to be, don't you think you should advise your customers not to drink the water out of the tap or feed the animals the water out of the tap because of the danger? I mean, I don't, I buy bottled water now because I come to your meetings and I get educated, but a lot of my neighbors don't. So are you gonna tell them until you get it fixed that the water coming out of their tap is not drinkable?
Well, anything else, George?
That's it.
Okay, I mean, I would say from the federal government to the state government, anybody can correct me if I'm wrong here, but has said the water is not drinkable. No, so I think if we went and told our customers the water is not drinkable, we wouldn't be telling them the truth.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So this levels are okay, acceptable?
according to the federal government and the state governments, yes.
What is their level?
Well, correct me if I'm misstating, okay? But they have what's called a response level, a notification level, which we do. And then they say within a certain number of years, they have a testing level, which we've complied with already, years ahead of schedule. They have a notification schedule that we've complied with years ahead of schedule. They have a remediation deadline that we will be complying with years ahead of schedule.
What is the percentage level that they recommend that people not drink?
I don't know that there is one, but we're below that, whatever it is.
Oh, okay.
Well, the maximum contaminant level that the EPA has set is 4 parts per trillion, and that goes into effect in 2029, 5 years, because they recognize that all the public water systems across the nation are gonna need that much time to implement the proper treatment, you know, and so if you're above 10 parts per trillion in California, that reaches a response level, and a response level, you either need to take a source out of service, install treatment, or keep it online and notify the public that it's on, you know, that you're using the source. So that's what we've chosen to do. And we've also, like I just mentioned, we have increased the Clawa purchase by a lot, 1 million gallons a day. Shut down Cedar Glen treatment plant because that one doesn't have any blending capabilities with Clawa or groundwater. And so we are confident that we are delivering water below the response level of 10. And it may not be below the maximum contaminant level of 4, but we're talking parts per trillion. And we're doing everything we can. We are being proactive as far as like where we are in the process of getting the treatment designed and installed. I'd say we're ahead of other districts. And we're doing what we can because we know it's we have 5 years and we're not going to wait because things take a while. So we're doing everything we can. And again, like the board has the filter rebate program. That's not anything we had to do. So we're doing everything we can. I hope that answers your question. So
That's all I wanted to know.
Good, okay. Thank you, George. Anybody else? Okay. All right,
Mr. Hurricane.
Gary, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question for Mr. Brooks. Can I direct your attention to page 43 of the document, the agenda? So on page 43, I have a question about the response level notification and who was the one that was making the decisions. On page 43, if you look halfway down, the board can look at it. It's bullet point number 6. You have a statement in this agenda. It says the Bernina water treatment plants 4 consecutive quarters sampled between Q1 and Q4 had an annual average of 9.77 nanograms per liter. Now, if you look at the notice, the response level that you guys mailed out to every single ratepayer, second paragraph, last sentence it states as follows. The results of the finished treated water after treatment and blending with the groundwater and or purchased water, what you are drinking, have levels below the response level of 10.0 nanograms per PFOA. So the question I have for you, Mr. Brooks, did you make the decision not to put in the letter that the level of the drinking water is 9.775? And if it was not you who made the decision, who within LACSD made the decision not to disclose to the public the actual PFAS level of the finished drinking water? That is my question. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions, Garen?
Just that one single question. Thank you.
Okay. Well, the public has been notified that the level is 9.77. So, Matt is in charge and doing a fantastic job of operating our plants. But I don't think you can correct me, he doesn't draft the notifications. So,
So we
And-
run them by DDW for approval before they're ever sent out, but Matt did draft. the
oh, he did,
notification.
okay.
Yeah.
He's a multi-talented man. I mean, I apologize.
I actually did.
Okay.
I mean, and what I did was, like I mentioned, they didn't have a template for that, and so I had the California order next to me, and I saw what was required, and I made sure that everything that was required in there was included, and I passed that on to the Division of Drinking Water. We had conversation, and they approved it, and there was no intent, Mr. Vartanian, to hide any sort of data or numbers. We feel that that's an accurate statement. 9.77 is in fact below 10. We took a voluntary sample on the 15th to confirm this. I've showed you tables. I'm not sure if you can see what's online, but we feel that with the Clawa purchase and the groundwater blend, that we are bringing this water down well below the 10, and we have a sample out for analysis right now that will hopefully confirm that. And we're going to continue taking quarterly samples of the finished drinking water to confirm that. And we can, we talk about this every month. We're not hiding anything. We've put plenty of stuff on our website. We've had stuff in the newspapers. We've had billing inserts. We've had plenty of information out there. Nobody here is hiding anything. We are in constant contact with the Division of Drinking Water, and we feel like we are in full compliance. That's our understanding. And if you disagree, you can feel free to reach out to them. But we have a close relationship with them, have for years prior to this PFAS. This PFAS is only one thing we have going on. So we take our jobs very seriously. We take public health very seriously. We take water quality very seriously. And we also feel that the Division of Drinking Water understands that and actually feels that as well. And if you disagree, you can feel free to reach out to them. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Garen. Anybody else? All right, very good. Thank you, Matt. Next, we have the general manager's report. Catherine.
Thank you, Mr. President. So far, as of the printing of the agenda, we had provided 13 rebates, but since that time, we've added 10 more, and I saw quite a few more coming in this week. So it's going very smooth, and we haven't had any problems so far with it. Also, we are going to be starting a new social media campaign to help kind of highlight water quality, to send out a little bit more notification to the public, and also to highlight the hard work that our employees do every day.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments from the board?
Here's next.
Okay, no general public out there? Okay. Very good. All right, that completes our reports. Next, we move on to action items, number 11. Catherine.
Thank you. So we have been negotiating with the MSCEU for several months. The contract expires in September. We were able to reach an agreement, and for your consideration is this the red line of the MOU. I would like to thank MSCEU for their faithful negotiation and the board for participating in this process.
And you have a recommendation?
I recommend that we approve the MOU as presented.
Okay. Any questions from the public here? No?
There's none.
No? Okay. Questions, comments from the board?
Somebody's hand just went up.
Okay.
Oh, it just went down. It was
Okay.
Mr. Ben.
Okay.
It went down.
All right. Questions, comments from the board?
Oh, his hand went back up.
All
again.
right. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm just concerned about this testing of your PFAS that you're explaining here. For the first 6 months here, you have been purchasing.
That's not, we've already skipped past that one. Okay. So this is
Because I
on
clicked
the,
on this, it didn't work. Okay, that's fine. That's all.
okay. Sorry about that. Okay, anybody else?
No.
Okay, all right, entertain a motion? That's either one of you two guys. Okay. I'll move to accept. Do we have a
Motion
second?
to accept?
Yes, yes. Second? Okay, do we need a roll call or voice? Voice vote, all in favor? Yes. All right, the memorandum is approved. Thank you, Catherine, and thank you for our staff. Okay, appreciate it. All right. Next is number 12. Matt, again, you seem to be dominating the meeting lately. Beginning to feel a little bit left out, but perhaps I'll defer to the more talented speaker.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. So before you is an item to consider approving the purchase of 2 new Caterpillar diesel generators for the Banff Reservoir site and lift station number 12. So the generator at the Banff Reservoir site has been in service for 26 years and has exceeded its useful life. District staff has spent several days troubleshooting the generator along with 2 separate contracted repair technicians, which all determined that the unit should be replaced due to its age and because the parts are no longer readily available. The cost would be very significant to completely overhaul the existing generator unit and upgrade the electrical and control systems, so replacement is recommended. Lift station number 12's generator has been in service for 27 years and recently developed a similar issue to Banff's generator, also requiring parts that are no longer available. They're 2 same model year generators. So both generators are very critical, and they're critical components at the stations they serve. They're relied upon during power outages to provide the necessary emergency backup power to deliver water to customers and convey the wastewater to the treatment plants. The recommended generator quote, it was obtained from Quinn Power Systems, contract through Sourcewell. Sourcewell is an authorized entity to establish competitively awarded cooperative purchasing contracts on behalf of itself and its participating agencies. Basically, what that means is it cuts down the bidding process, and this company has vetted these companies, and public agencies like us are welcome to use it, and we've seen great benefit from this. With that said, these generators for Banff and lift station number 12, they're budgeted items, and they'll be funded by the 100 and 200 funds, water and wastewater funds, and with a total budget of $100,000. So the fiscal impact will be $117,192 plus applicable sales tax, putting these slightly over budget. Installation will be done in-house by the mechanical operations department. And after speaking with Tony, who got these bids, some of the increased costs were for AQMD permitting and also startup. This includes a 1-day startup. They'll send an employee up. So the permitting fees we were going to have to pay anyways, as we typically don't always pay them with the generator purchase. So between the permitting fees and startup and the freight, that was an additional $15,000 per generator, which put us over the budget of $100,000, but this is really critical equipment and we'd like to move forward with that. So if you guys would be so kind, staff's recommendation is that the board of directors approves this recommendation to purchase these 2 new Caterpillar diesel generators. So one's a 100 kW, that's for the Banff Reservoir site, and the other's a 60 kW for lift station 12. And both include freight charges, necessary permits and startup commissioning. Both exclude sales tax. So the total purchase will be $117,192.07 plus applicable sales tax from Quinn Power Systems through Sourcewell. So with sales tax, I believe it puts it somewhere in the neighborhood of $126,000.
Questions or comments from the board? From the public? Go ahead.
No, that's all right. I'll hold that.
Okay,
There's none.
okay. Nobody? All right, entertain a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Voice vote,
Yes.
all in favor? Aye. And contract is approved. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, is that your last one?
I hope so.
Okay. Okay, next we have, consider awarding construction contract for Lake Arrowhead Country Club well, number 5, rehab. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, a little background on this. This is well 5. It's kind of off of the 16th fairway. The project consists of the rehabilitation of well 5 located at the LACC, including removing the submersible pump and associated equipment from the well, multi-phase cleaning and disinfection, and the installation of a new submersible pump. Well 5 is one of the district's better producing wells, but it has developed production and quality issues and has not been in service since October 10th, 2023. Fiscal impact, funding for this rehabilitation project will be provided by the Supplemental Water Supply Fee Fund 160. This wasn't, because it was kind of an emergency, it wasn't budgeted for fiscal year 23-24. And reason for recommendation, we went out to bid on June 6th. And on July 11th, we received 2 bids. The lowest bid was from L.O. Lynch Quality Wells and Pumps for $97,424. We're familiar with this group. They came in under our engineer's estimate. They also did the work on well 1. We're pretty happy. That's been going well. So with that, it's recommended that the Board of Directors award a contract for the construction of the Lake Arrowhead Country Club well number 5 rehabilitation project number J108 to L.O. Lynch Quality Wells and Pumps for their low and responsible bid of $97,427, and authorize the general manager to execute the contract, and authorize the general manager to approve change orders for the project as required in the field during contract time for an amount not to exceed 15% of the original contract amount.
Questions, comments? No? Public?
There's none.
None? Nobody? No? Entertain a motion?
I move to approve. Second.
Voice vote?
Yes.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the contract is considered awarded. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 14.
Number 14, okay. Consider awarding a contract for the installation of electrical for the Corporation Yard Project 177. So this was on last month's agenda. And so Trinity's contract only accounted for certain portions of the building. This is to finish the electrical in those areas outside of their contract. So a couple months ago, I went out with a RFP to 3 local contracts or contractors. One is Big Bear Electric, which did the first phase for Trinity. And I got no response from them. I sent one to SoCal Electric. We got no response. And we received 1 proposal from a company called Amtech Construction. And we had that, I believe, at the last meeting, but we wanted to get more proposals. So since then, I've reached out to Hams Electric, Superior Electric, and a company called Trout Electric. And their proposals are due on 8/2. And I've already been approached. Hams Electric isn't interested in it. They're really busy, and they're based out of Upland, and they just didn't have the staff to come up and do this for us. Superior Electric, they're out. They didn't want to pay prevailing wage. And I haven't heard back from Trout Electric. So I think we're looking for direction. If you guys are comfortable with what we have from the one contractor to accept this or try to get some more proposals. We've had this proposal looked at by our inspector at TKE. He said that the quantities were right on. And I talked to Bob Lent, he's our electrician. And I said, what do you think of this price? He said, I thought it would be more. He thought it would be $500,000. So the current proposal we have from Amtech is $472,875. So we can keep fishing. The budget for this portion,
It's, yeah.
600 for 253.
600,000.
600.
But there's still more, that we need to do.
With all the work that you've done and all the companies you've contacted and tried to contact, is there anything that says to you that if you carried this on for another 2 to 4 weeks, you would see anything different?
no.
Okay, good question. I motion for approval. I'll second it. We need public comment.
Well, we would, yeah. So is the notification, is the information in the packet adequate? Because there's no contractor mentioned, there's no price mentioned.
Well, we didn't want to we were hoping we would get more.
Yeah.
No, I understand, yeah, I
So-
appreciate, but I'm sort of looking at Joe here, it's just,
I think it's sufficient, given that it was on the agenda last month, it was referenced and discussed, and it's being discussed here openly. You don't have to attach a copy of the contract.
or mention the name of the contractor or even the price.
Well, we're certainly doing that, but we don't have to do that on the agenda.
Okay, that was my
Yeah.
question.
But yeah, we would want, obviously, making it clear for the record is important right now.
And so beside, how much have we spent so far on the courtyard? And yet,
I don't have that with me.
okay. How much more do we have to do and how much more do we have in the budget?
So our staff have been doing a lot of work.
I know, yeah, and I want to mention that generator install was gonna be done by our mechanical.
Yeah.
operations. I forgot, I didn't circle, but that's,
Yes,
I
so
wanna mention
our staff
that.
quickly got in there and got all the framing done, but they are now held up by the electric
you
and
know,
unfortunately, it's taken an extensive amount of time to try to even get one quote.
right, you know,
And the other sense of urgency is that we're going to be putting Cedar Glen under construction soon for PFAS treatment.
Mm.
And that's where they're
that's where we're at,
temporarily
yeah.
housed.
Yeah.
So we did Scott's been really trying. It just seems that a lot of these electrical contractors they're just busy.
Yeah.
And they don't need more work.
How much have we spent so far on the project? Yes,
6 million?
okay,
Yeah,
so
so
why
6
are we
million.
already spent 6 million and it's not in use? Why, if we're comfortable with what we've already done and we've been thorough, why not just go forward with it?
So, yeah, I mean, I agree, there's almost no choice, but my question is, what's besides this, what's left else to do?
So, we do need, so there's some things that we can't do in-house, so we need a little
Right.
help finishing the HVAC. I don't think that's gonna be a whole lot.
Mhm.
And then, drywall,
Okay.
paint,
So we're real close.
we're getting close.
Yeah, okay. Right,
Utilities are done,
yeah, I know we're getting close. And we did this during, the inflationary time.
mhm, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
No.
Okay, public,
Mr. Vartanian?
okay. Darren,
Mr. Wurm asked a very valuable question and so did the other director. How much has this thing cost? So the question that I have is, the general manager just stated 6 million. We're getting ready to spend another $500,000, so we're at 6.5 million. And the project is still not done. I'd like to remind the board, if you go back and look at your project number 177, which is this project. Back in 2021, you guys had I'm gonna quote you guys, while the board was more comfortable with the project cost of 4 million to 4.2 million. So how long is this gonna go and what's the actual cost? Is the cost right now 6 million, or that's just a guesstimate by the general manager? And what's the finished cost of this thing? This parking yard that you guys are building? Because it seems like it's out of budget. So Mr. Wurm, if you can answer this, or somebody else can answer this. You asked a very great question, and you asked the question that I was gonna ask. What's the cost? We're at 6 million, and as of today, as of this moment, it looks like we're at 6.5 million. So is 7 million gonna be the cap, 8 million, 10 million? Where's the finish line on this? Somebody please answer that question. Thank you.
Anything else, Karen, besides that?
Just that one question. Thank you. Please answer it. Thank you.
Okay, so I appreciate your concern, and I remember years ago discussing this, and I think at that time I might have said I was comfortable with 4 million, but it's gone over. And once we're committed, I don't know what else to do. I mean, it has gone over. There's no question about that. And I wish it hadn't, but we hit inflation, and I don't know what else to say except for it's 80-90% done. I think Catherine gave the $6 million. That's about what I remember from my recollection is a present cost. And so hopefully it'll get done and we'll move on and get our folks into it. And like Catherine just said, we're about to start doing the PFAS treatment on Bernina. We can't, the guy's got to be someplace. They got to be someplace. They can't work out of the back of their truck. So I think that's the best answer we can give you. All right. Anybody else?
There's none.
Okay. All right.
We already have a motion in a second.
Okay. We did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The contract is awarded for $472,879. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So. Any board members want to go to more meetings? No. Okay. Any board member comments?
No, I've got a question. Having not been here when the project started or got anywhere. And it's been managed. I'm not questioning the management of it. I'm questioning at what point in time do we say this isn't good? And it's not this time, but if we've moved over how many years? I mean, is this just something is just so unusual that we couldn't have foreseen it? Forget the inflation part of it. I'm not addressing the dollars right now. I'm addressing the timeline.
Well, I mean, I think it's been 5 years, if I had to put a number on it. Okay, I could be corrected. But it started out, Bruce, you weren't here, okay, so hopefully this answers some of the questions, maybe gives some historical perspective. We were operating out of the UCLA Conference Center garages. And I mean, actually, this project even goes back further because we had a purchase from the county. So, I mean, I'm gonna say, maybe 8 or 9 years, or 10.
It's 2010.
2010 is when we started, and then we reverse field on that. So, we did sell the UCLA property or property next to UCLA for almost $3 million. No, 2 million?
One something.
One something.
Okay, so I mean, that helped defer some of it. And I think we got a good price on the dirt, 100,000. It's been very, very expensive and it's a good question.
We've jumped through a lot of hoops, I think, too, with the county and timelines and thinking things are gonna get done, and then all of a sudden, no, it's, you know, whoever we contracted with, what couldn't do because of winter. There were so many things that happened during the building of this. We were all frustrated with it, I know that.
I don't
And,
think,
and we absolutely, I know John and I were both kind of like, I don't know if we want to spend this money.
and I don't think that the discussion that I just
Yeah.
prompted is doing us any good anyway.
No, I mean, just to say that, you know, we're so deep into it right now. Number one, that it's, you know, we're not gonna stop, obviously. You just said that earlier. But also, it'd be foolish to put an end number on it. We don't know. We have no idea. We expect it to be $4 million, I think. We were edgy on $4 million. We didn't want to spend $4 million. John and I both were, $4 million are crazy. But a lot of the vehicles were setting out in the elements, which is not good. If you know, we're buying new equipment right now, and how much that costs to set outside and rot all winter long and not be inside. So we thought over how many years, how many machines do we gotta buy to replace stuff that breaks down because it's sitting out in the middle of the elements. So that was one of the big reasons that we wanted, and it was in how many different places.
Oh, yeah.
It was parked it was illegally parked, if I remember, some of it was, and we got in trouble for it. Because neighbors called and said, you start your machines up every morning and I can't sleep. And I think I don't know if we got sued, but we got in trouble for it, so we had to do something. But there's a huge history behind this. I mean, hopefully it'll be over very soon.
I don't think anybody wants to go back over it.
No.
All right. Thank you, Bruce. Okay. Next, we have closed session. So
Yes.
we're gonna,
We are adjourned to closed session right now for the 3 items that are stated on the agenda, 2 cases that are existing litigation having to do with PFAS, class action settlements, and also conference real property for the address listed.
and we don't expect any report on any action.
I likely am going to report out on 15 and 16.
Okay, George, no campaigning. Okay, so we do.
We do expect.
We do expect to report out on 15 and 16.
All right. All right, thank you.
Great.